Hi saha naradaha hamso hamsena yanena hamso hamsena yanena hamso hamsena yanena tridhamam paramam yayo tridhama paramam yayo tridhama paramam yayo Maitreya uvacha tavashvasya jagat srishta kumarai sahinaradaha hamso hamsena yanena tridhama paramam yayo Maitreya uvacha tavashvasya jagat srashta kumarai sahinaradaha hamso hamsena yanena tridhama paramam yayo. Prabhuji's Maitreya uvacha tavashvasya jagat srashta kumarai sahanaradaha hamso hamsena yanena tridhama paramam yayo. Maitreya uvacha kumarai sahanaradaha hamso hamsena yanena tridhama paramam yayo. Maitreya uvacha tavashvasya jagat srashta kumarai sahanarada hamso hamsena yanena tridhama paramam yayo. Maharajis. Maitreya uvacha tavashvasya jagat srashta kumarai sahanarada hamso hamsena yanena tridhama paramam yayo. Maitreya uvacha tavashvasya jagat srashta kumarai sahanaradaha hamso hamsena yanena tridhama paramam yayo. Maitreya uvacha tavashvasya jagat srashta kumarai sahanaradaha hamso hamsena yanena tridhama paramam yayo. Transliteration, please repeat after me. Maitreya uvacha. Maitreya said, Tau, the couple, Ashvasya, having reassured, Jagat Srashta, the creator of the universe, Kumaraihi, along with the Kumaras, Saha Naradaha. With Narada, Hamsaha, Lord Brahma, Hamsena Yanena, by his swan carrier, Tridhama Paramam, to the highest planetary system, Yayo, went. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Maitreya said, after thus speaking to Kardama Muni and his wife Devahuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hamsa, went back to the highest of the three planetary systems on his swan carrier with the four Kumaras and Narada. Please repeat after me. Sri Maitreya said, after thus speaking to Kardama Muni and his wife Devahuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hamsa, went back to the highest of the three planetary systems on a swan carrier with the four Kumaras and Narada. Purport: the words Hamsena Yanena are very significant here. Hamsayana, the aeroplane by which Brahma travels all over outer space, resembles a swan. Brahma is also known as Hamsa because he can grasp the essence of everything. His abode is called Tridhama Paramam. There are three divisions of the universe: the upper planetary systems, the middle planetary systems, and the lower planetary system. But this abode is above even Siddhaloka, the upper planetary system. He returned to his own planet with the four Kumaras and Narada because they were not going to be married. The other rishis who came with him, such as Marichi and Atri, remained there because they were to be married to the daughters of Kardama. But his other sons, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and Narada, went back with him in his swan-shaped aeroplane. The four Kumaras and Narada are Naishtika Brahmacharis. Naishtika Brahmacharis refers to one who never wastes his semen at any time. They were not to attend the marriage ceremony of their other brothers, Marichi and the other sages, and therefore they went back to their father, Hamsa. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Teshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. Mukam karoti vatsalam pango langayate girim yatkripatamaham bande Shri Guru Shri Inatarinam Tavaivasmi Najivami Tavaivina Iti Vigya Devitvam Nayamam Charanantikam. Hare Krishna everyone. Good morning. Welcome to this morning's Bhagavatam class, chapter Renunciation of Kardama Muni. Ganesham, just noticed a couple of pujaris are messing up the Aarti sequence. Yeah, two people I noticed, so I may need to refresh. Okay, here, bit of a recap. Maitreya Uvacha. So Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidura. Maitreya Muni happened to listen to Lord Krishna when he was instructing Uddhava in the Uddhava Gita episode, which will be iterated in 11th chapter, if I remember right. So Maitreya Muni happened to be there when Krishna spoke to Uddhava. So he learned, or he heard directly from Krishna himself. So when Vidura approached Uddhava to instruct him what he heard from Krishna, Uddhava suggested that he, Vidura, listen from Maitreya Muni. So devotees are happy. They're not just interested just to hear their own voice. It is said that the most pleasing thing to someone, what is the most pleasing thing to someone? Themselves, or them speaking about their own glory. That's the most pleasing thing to someone here. But you can see Uddhava, even though he heard directly from Lord Krishna and he had he's the cousin brother of Krishna, had the most intimate association with Krishna, even though he had an opportunity, when Vidura approached him to speak, he insisted that Maitreya speak instead. So you can see Uddhava sets an example. Not only that, it's nice to hear the pastimes of the Lord. Even though if you're an expert, it's nice to hear the pastimes of the Lord from others' mouth, other devotees' mouth, because they speak their experience, their realization. So if you just want to hear your own understanding and your realization, you might be a bit narrow-minded or narrow-focused, because your intelligence, your realization is kind of based on your intelligence. But if you listen to somebody else, either they may be advanced or not so advanced, doesn't matter. If you hear from others, you can also understand their perspective. So you can get a different view of the same information. So here, Uddhava, in previous chapters, requested Maitreya Muni to speak, and Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidura. Maitreya Muni has been explaining the pastime of Devahuti and Kardama Muni, how Devahuti had 9 daughters, and she insisted having a son, and now she's pregnant with Kapila Muni, who is the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So to celebrate the occasion, and Brahma and other sages visited Devahuti and prayed their obeisances to Kapila Dev in the womb. It's very similar to when Devaki and Vasudeva, Devaki was pregnant with Lord Krishna in the womb in Mathura, in the jail cell. All the demigods and Brahma came and offered their obeisances or offered their prayers. It's a similar pastime here. So Brahma, also referred as Hamsa, was present there. He paid his obeisances. He reassured the couple that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Muni, will take birth as their 10th son, and disseminate the real knowledge of Sankhya philosophy. The next chapter is a very important chapter, where Kapila Muni will be speaking to Devahuti on Sankhya philosophy. So after reassuring, Brahma is taking his leave. Along with him, Narada and the 4 Kumaras are also taking their leave. Here we can see Brahma, he's traveling with an airplane. The modern scientists think that they are the only one who have managed to invent an aeroplane or a flying object, and they are very proud of it. But this flying object, what they have invented, that can travel only within short distance. You know, what is the longest flight goes from Sydney to London, sometimes from Hong Kong to New York. Some of these are the longest flights, and so they have a limited range. They can't go beyond that. They can't go further up. If they want to go further up, then you have to have a spacecraft, and then even the spacecraft, it can only take you up. When you come down, it can't fly really back down. You have to use the parachute or something to float back down. So it has limited capabilities, what the humans have come up with. But the vehicles used by the demigods, they are much more subtle in nature. They work on more subtle platform. The subtler it gets, the grosser requirements are reduced. So you don't need to refuel it. So it's not like you're flying from here to Europe, you have to stop in Dubai and refuel the plane. You don't need that. You're not dependent on fuel. So and these aircraft, different demigods use different modes of transport, and they are, according to their nature, suits their needs. So we can see Brahma uses an aircraft which resembles a swan. So swan is Hamsa. Hamsa is a bird which is in mode of goodness, an extreme mode of goodness. Similarly, you can see Lord Shiva. He has a carrier. Who's Lord Shiva's carrier? Nandi, bull. And Indra, anybody? Airavata. Indra uses Airavata. And Lord Ganesh, Mushtaka, mouse. So different people have their own different carriers. So we can't, really comprehend and say how, Ganesh, big guy, on a small mouse. So according to their different natures, they all travel or use different vehicles. But these vehicles are not conditioned to the aircraft which we use. They have higher powers. They have higher powers, and more than these carriers, there is also carrier of Lord Vishnu. And who is the carrier of Lord Vishnu? Garuda. Is there a photo here? Garuda coming down? No. Okay. Yeah, you can see what is the pastime? Gajendra Moksha, where Lord Vishnu descends to help Gajendra in his Garuda carrier. So Garuda is much more superior when it comes to the various vehicles used, because he is transcendental. He is the direct associate of the Lord. But it is said that the Lord is even faster than Garuda. So when the Gajendra Moksha pastime took place, the Lord really wanted to help Gajendra, so he propelled even before Garuda can catch up. So Garuda eventually caught up with the Lord. So the Lord is even much more, faster. What is that in Isopanishad? He's faster than the fastest, even though he doesn't have mundane legs. So the Lord is even more faster than Garuda. So these are various vehicles used by different personalities. You have this UFO spotters, or what do you call them? UFO spotters, and they're also into alien theories. They all say, "Oh, we saw some unidentified objects flying in the sky." If they take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, they can, they don't need to speculate about this unidentified objects. They are actually identified objects. There is Hamsa, there is bull, there is mouse. These are all identified objects used by various demigods. And if they take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, they can understand all these flying objects which various demigods use to travel between various planetary systems, and not just within the Earth, but they can actually travel between various planetary systems. Here, Brahma is traveling from the banks of Saraswati all the way to the topmost planetary system. There are 3 planetary systems. There is upper planetary system, the middle planetary system, and the lower planetary system. How upper planetary system starts, where the Swarga Loka, the various heavenly planets, starts all the way to Brahma Loka. So this Brahma Loka is a bit, it's a bit tatashta. It's a bit, kind of covers the material platform, and also it covers a bit of spiritual platform. So it's in the middle of this semi-zone, semi-transient zone. So it's on the topmost planetary system, where the Lord himself resides as Hiranyagarbha. So that's the planetary system of Brahma. And he resides there with his sons, Narada, Kumaras, Marichi, and Atri. And below that are various Siddhaloka, Tapaloka, Makaraloka. These are various higher planetary systems where living entities with much more advanced knowledge, subtle intelligence reside there. And then it gets a bit grosser. Then it comes to grosser heavenly planets where Indra, Chandra, they all live. And then the Bhuloka, the earth platform, where different zones of earth, Bhuloka dimensions are present. What is that? 6 odd dimensions, isn't it? Described in 5th canto, Harivamsa. So there is, I think 9, thank you. So 9 divisions, 9 zones of Bhuloka planets. And underneath is the hellish planets who have hellish pleasures in the first 3 or 4, and then it kind of degrades. So these are various planetary systems, and the vehicles used by the demigods or higher beings can travel through these planetary systems without any problem or without any need for fuel. So here Brahma is also, he came here with a swan carrier, blessed his grandchildren, Devahuti, Kardama Muni, and also instigated the marriage of his sons Marichi and Atri. And now, when his business is done, he's boarding his Hamsa carrier. So Brahma is also called Hamsa. Prabhupada says here Brahma is also addressed as Hamsa. Because he is the highest being and he is very much keen in understanding the subtle information provided in the Vedas. What is that? Krishna says in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Is that the one? No. Veda Vadarata. No, not the other one. Yam Pushpavitam Veda. Yam Pushpavitam Veda. Pravakshami Pushpavitam Vacham Veda Vadarata Partha Nanyat Asit Vadini. So the Vedas consider a lot of, depending on various needs for different living entities, based on their different desires, provide different information. Vedas gives you information how to go to higher planetary system. Vedas gives you intelligence how to get a beautiful wife. Vedas gives information how to get a beautiful husband. Vedas also gives you information how to destroy your enemy. So depending on the need or the nature, the modes of nature a person is situated, the Veda gives you various information, various knowledge. But advanced devotees, they are not concerned about these various distractions. They want the essence. They want to extract the essence. So, what is the essence of Vedas? Which is mentioned by Krishna himself in chapter 15, text 15. What is that verse? Sarvasya jaham hridhi sannivishto matasmriti jnanam apohanam cha vedeshu sarvam ahameva vedya vedanta krit vedavid cha aham. So, the essence of Veda is to understand Krishna. So here, Brahma is expert in that. Even though he spoke the Vedas to benefit or to facilitate desires of various living entities, he is not carried away by all those instructions himself. He knows the essence. Sarvasya chaham ahameva vedya. The essence is to understand Krishna. The essence of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. So he knows that. So he is called Hamsa. Why he is called a Hamsa? What is that relationship between Hamsa knowing the essence? Because Hamsa is a bird. We heard about it. Prabhupada speaks about it a lot. Resides in the lakes of Manasarovar in the upper Himalayas. And this bird has a special quality. What is that quality? This bird, if you offer the bird milk mixed with water, this bird can extract just the milk and leave behind the water. So it has that amazing quality. It has the natural filter to drink just the milk and give up the water. We live in Australia, so we don't get, I hope, we don't, we don't get milk mixed with water. But where I come from, it's hard to get pure milk. The milkman always dilutes the milk with a little bit of water, or a lot of water. Sometimes there's more water than milk. And if you ask them, and say, why is it? It's quite liquidy. And they say, oh, the cow drank a lot of milk yesterday. So, sorry, cow drank a lot of water yesterday. So, so this analogy, the water mixed with milk, or milk mixed with water might not make sense to us lucky souls living in Australia. But yeah, in India you get milk usually contaminated by water. So when we offer this diluted milk, the swan can just extract the milk and leave behind the water. And similarly, Brahma here is also capable of extracting the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. And he has spoken that essence in Brahma Samhita, worshipping Brahma, the prayers by Brahma to Krishna. And we also follow in the footsteps of Brahma. We come in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, our foremost guru is Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So whatever essence he has extracted from Vedas, he has delivered to us through the disciplic succession. And through following the disciplic succession, we also get the essence of Vedas. So what is the opposite of Hamsa? The opposite of Hamsa is according to what Prabhupada explains, is crows. Hamsa hangs out in, or you can see Hamsa in Manasarovar Lake, the crystal clear, pure water of Manasarovar Lake. Anybody visited Manasarovar? Yeah, not me. It's a bit of an extreme trekking, apparently, in the foothills of Mount Kailash. So this, that's the place where it's completely pure. There is no industries in the mountains of Kailash, so the water is contaminated. It's not like we go to current day Yamuna, where it's completely contaminated by the the tanning industry of Delhi. It's not like that. The water in Manasarovar is absolutely pure. It's crystal clear water from the snow melting in the upper Himalayas. So that's what it is made out of. And that's where the Hamsas reside. On the other hand, the crows, they reside in the most filthiest places. Wherever the garbage is, that's where you can find crows. So the materialistic, so the comparison is the devotees or the followers of Brahma, they are like Hamsas. They hang out or they extract the essence, the nectar. And the materialistic people who don't follow the footsteps of Brahma, they are always seen around the discarded food. So the food preferred by crows are not just any decent food offered. They actually eat things which are discarded. Similarly, materialistic people, or men or women, whatever, they also enjoy eating things which are abominable or discarded or used. So what Prahalad Maharaj says, puna puna charavita charavananam. So they are always chewing things which are already been chewed for many lifetimes. Similarly, crows, they also eat food which are already been eaten and thrown away. So that's materialistic people. They're always enjoying things which are discarded. And not only that, they also enjoy talking about topics which are low in nature. They are always talking about, they're not interested in the essence of Vedic understanding. They're always talking about mundane topics on enjoyment, which pretty much culminates into prajalpa, or criticism, or how to enjoy criticism of others, or criticism of devotees, or how to enjoy the discarded material happiness. So that's a difference between the crows and the swans. The swans are interested in higher topics. That's why they are called, the devotees are addressed generally as Paramahamsas, because they are interested, they are like the Hamsas. They are interested in the topics which discuss the lotus feet of the Lord. What is it? Kunti Devi says, Yata Paramahamsana Muninam Amalatmanam Bhakti Yoga Vidanartham Katham what? Forgot. Pashyami Hi Striya. She says, the topics about you are understood or discussed by Paramahamsas, not by ordinary people. Paramahamsas, Munis, Amalatmanam, people who know what is material, what is mundane, and what is spiritual. So they can differentiate and they can pick which is spiritual. So the topics discussed by the Lord describes the Lord, his pastimes, his lotus feet. These are enjoyed by Paramahamsas, the great living entities, and not by ordinary mundane people. Ordinary mundane people, they don't find it interesting. If you discuss the pastimes of the Lord, they want to get up and walk away. So they're not interested. They are interested to see how they want to go to the forums where they discuss how to make money, how to invest in stock market, how to increase your real estate portfolio. So these are the topics they are interested. As soon as one talks about the pastimes of the Lord, the description of the beautiful form of the Lord, they are not interested. They're gone, or they start criticizing. On the other hand, Paramahamsas, they seek out. They're only interested in listening to the pastimes of the Lord. Why? Because the pastimes of the Lord, Krishna himself says, Janma karma chame divyam, yevam yoveti tatvataha, takta deham punarjanma, naiti mameti. So Arjuna, by understanding, by hearing, constantly hearing the pastimes of the Lord. What is it? Na Punar Darshanam. Na Punar Darshanam by Kunti Devi again. I don't need to, if I understand your pastimes, if I remember you, if I see your lotus face, I don't need to take birth again into this material world. So, the Hamsas, the Paramahamsas, they are interested in topics which can deliver them liberation from repeated birth and death by understanding or by hearing the Janma and Karma and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, we aspiring devotees also should, as per the instructions of Kunti Devi, should seek out opportunities to hear the pastimes of the Lord and make one's life successful and not be like crows, just interested in discarded filthy objects. Here, Narada Muni and the Kumaras, they are addressed as Naishtika Brahmacharis. Naishtika Brahmacharis are devotees who have taken a vow of to remain celibate for the rest of their life. So being celibate is not an easy thing. This topic is happening in Satya Yuga. And now we live in Kali Yuga, which is much more degraded. In this Yuga, in Satya Yuga, men and women, they know how to behave themselves. Men knows not to associate with women with opposite sex, and women knows how to maintain their chastity. They would never come before men, they won't come before men. They always have their head covered. They're not interested in preaching to men. So these are civilized individuals living in Satya Yuga. And even among the association of the civilized human beings here, you can see the Kumaras and Narada Muni are taking a safe route. They're not getting involved in ceremonies like marriage, which indicates, even though it is a highly elevated living entity, still is the ashram which is considered binding ashram to the material nature. So they are very much careful. Very much careful. I personally have experience. I used to do weddings, still sometimes, and it's quite hard when all the bride and the grooms are all completely dressed up, and you're a priest and you're thinking. So it's hard to get involved in activities like that. So generally, the celibates are very careful, and they keep themselves away from easily interacting with the opposite sex, with the female energy, because just a little. Again, what is that verse in Bhagavad Gita? Wind can easily, just like one sense, slightly distracted, can drag all the other senses, like a boat being dragged away by the wind. So similarly, attending a wedding ceremony for a celibate monk, it's not advised, because they may be sitting and they may be pure, but the mind might play a game and say, oh, maybe I could get married. Or she's a devotee, and he's a devotee, and they are coming together and having a devotional son, or kids. So plus the devotional service, why not? So your mind might start playing games. So for a celibate person, it's advised not to, put themselves in a situation where the mind can play those games. So here, Narada Muni and the Kumaras are very careful, and when the marriage ceremony happens, they decided to leave and they're not taking part in their own brother's wedding ceremony. So this is when it comes to others. Even though the others here are great devotees, Marichi and Atri, and all the daughters, the 9 daughters of Kadamba Muni, they're all wonderful personalities. But when it comes to the activities of the Lord, the Kumaras or Narada, they don't discriminate. They actively participate to facilitate the pastimes of the Lord, if it is directly the pastimes of the Lord. We can see here his own brothers, their own brothers, they are not involved. But when it comes to the pastimes of the Lord, they are fully involved. A couple of examples. The very example is here, where Narada Muni went and brokered the wedding of Devahuti. Here he's saying, "Oh, I'm a Naishtika Brahmachari. I don't want to be part of a wedding ceremony." But there, the same person, he's brokering a wedding. He's going to Devahuti and says, Kadamba Muni is a great person, his wonderful qualities, and this and that. And he's, inducing her to fall in love with Kadamba Muni, the same Naishtika Brahmachari. Because it's a direct pastime of the Lord. He's facilitating the direct appearance of the Lord. Because of him brokering the marriage, Kapila Muni is born. So, to facilitate that direct facilitation. So we can't use that in the name of Yuddha Vairagya and Brahmachari start brokeraging the marriage. No. If you do that, then the mind will say, "Oh, why not me?" But Narada, because it's a direct facility, the pastimes to facilitate the pastimes of the Lord, he does that. Again, you can see, he does that again. Any example anybody can give? I can think of one more. Rukmini, thank you. He does the same thing to Rukmini. He goes to Rukmini and says, "Oh, Krishna, he's the most handsome person, this and that," and Rukmini is like, "I want to marry him." So she elopes with Krishna. And who is the Karuna-karta here? Narada Muni, a celibate Naishtika Brahmachari. So Narada Muni knows the time, place, and circumstances and reserves his brokerage facilities only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not even for his own brothers. So here he emphasizes the importance of how we can follow, or what one has to follow, or the danger involved in association with the lower ashrams. It's been highlighted. What is it? Yad acharito sheshta tatta devataro janaha saye pramana krute lokastad anuvartate. So whatever Shrestha, elevated individuals do, naturally the common people follow, or others follow. For example, Ganesham Prabhu is in the class, so there's 10 people. Otherwise, I'll be speaking to the wall. So you can see, the leaders follow, and naturally others also join. Similarly here, Narada is a great personality, Shrestha, and since he is setting an example, the following generations can also follow that. Again, one might see, like Prabhupada was criticized by his godbrothers or other fellow sannyasis that he officiated wedding ceremonies as a sannyasi in the Western countries. But one might criticize, but it's an extreme situation where there is no other option. When Prabhupada went to West, there was no priest to do weddings, Vedic priest from the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. So Prabhupada, of course, he wasn't a young brahmachari, he was an elderly sannyasi. So he did officiate wedding ceremonies out of emergency. But that emergency only remains with Prabhupada. We can't imitate great personalities like Srila Prabhupada. So thankfully the movement has grown, and there's a lot of grahasa priest who can officiate wedding ceremonies and get involved. So the sannyasis and the Naishtika brahmacharis doesn't need to risk their involvement. Yeah, okay. What time is it? All right, 8:45. That's all I got to say. Any questions, comments? Yeah. I'm sorry. Uh, so I don't understand the question. Let me try to reiterate what you said. So here, the Hamsa is a great personality, and the vehicle used by Brahma is Hamsa. So, oh yeah, they're conscious. Yes, they are living being. They're conscious. They're conscious entities who have taken up the role of serving Brahma. Uh, we can see like Nandi, he's a living entity, he has a lot of pastimes. A lot of the Shiva Puranas are spoken by Nandi. So he's a personality. The swan carrier is also a personality who's serving Brahma in that role. Same thing with Airavata. He's a person, he's a living entity. Yeah, they are performing various roles, serving them. And again, Brahma is a creator. He can manipulate material energy. He's an engineer. So if he wants to have a non-living Hamsa, he can manifest one. But generally, Hamsa is considered to be a living entity. The Lord also, today is, I just remembered. Before I come to your question, I may just add a few more things. Today is what Krishna Pushya Abhishek. So today is the day when the Lord is decorated very opulently with various flowers, flowers and flower garlands and all. And traditionally in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, the Lord goes on parikrama. Every week he's out giving darshan. He chooses various vahanas like Garuda Vahana. They call it as Garuda Seva in some temples in Sri Rangam or in Tirupati. You can see him nicely decorated and goes out in parikrama and Garuda Seva in Garuda Vahana. And one of the vahanas he uses is Hamsa Vahana. In Tirupati they use him, Hamsa Vahana. The Lord is dressed as Saraswati, and he is on the Hamsa to say that he can decimate the ignorance and give knowledge to signify that. And today, Krishna Pushya Abhishek is the day when Krishna is decorated with flower garlands and a lot of flowers, and then he goes out on parikrama to give his mercy. I was just reading in 10th canto that before Krishna leaves home, Mother Yashoda decorates him beautifully with gold necklace, pearls, gunja gems, various gems. But when he goes to the forest, he thinks it's not sufficient. So he decorates himself with more flowers and fruits. So in Sri Vaishnava they say, the Lord is Alankara Priya. He likes to be decorate himself. Yeah, he doesn't like taking bath. He's not Abhisheka Priya. He likes to, because he's covered by the dust of Raja, and he's been always kissed by the gopis. So he doesn't want to wash that away. So he's not very keen in Abhishek. He's to be dragged for Abhishek. But when it comes to decorating, he's ready. He's decorating himself all the time. So Krishna Pushya Abhishek, today is the day when he decorates himself with a lot of flower garlands and puts on a show, goes out and exhibits his beauty. And one of the carriers is Hamsa. He goes on Hamsa, Garuda, horse, many elephant. uh, elephant procession. So he goes out on various processions. He also accepts the Hamsa form. I mean, takes on Hamsa. Yeah. Yeah, look, there are instances where the Hamsa is explained as a living entity. That's how I understand. Again, the aeroplane could be a living entity, like Garuda is an aeroplane for Vishnu, and he's a living entity. But it doesn't stop Brahma from manifesting a non-living entity as an aeroplane. He can do it, but generally Hamsa is it's a living entity. That's my understanding. If others have any better. Yeah, they do hitch a ride. They do hitch a ride now and then. That's a famous pastime in Navadip Mandal Parikrama in Madhyadvip, where Sutta Goswami speaks Chaitanya Bhagavat. Shiva was quite desperate to attend it, and he knows Brahma is already there, and he knows that his Nandi is somewhere grazing and he doesn't have time. So he wants to get there as soon as possible. So he borrows Hamsa from Brahma, and he comes to Navadip, very fast, swift. So he's called Hamsa Vahana in Navadip Mandal Parikrama, in Navadip pastime. And there's a deity of Lord Shiva in the form of, sitting in the form of a Hamsa in Madhyadvip, in one of the 9 deeps of Navadvip. So if you go on Navadip Mandal Parikrama, I think it's the first day they go to, first day, if I remember, it's been 22 years I've been on Navadip Mandal Parikrama. Yeah, I think the first day they go to Madhyadvip, where you can see Lord Shiva borrowing Hamsa. So that answers your question. I think half my class was based on. It's like நம்ம ஊர்ல சொல்லுவாங்க ராத்திரி விடிய விடிய ராமாயணம் கேட்டு சீதைக்கு. So yeah, Hamsa is significant because he can grasp the essence. Yeah. So yeah, he can grasp the essence of the Vedas. So that's why he's signified here. If it is not bona fide, why speak? Anyway, let's hear and see if it is bona fide. Okay. May I just address that? Like in the 50s and the 60s, the scientists said smoking cigarette is the most coolest thing. And they all smoked. And they all propagated. So, are you going to believe them? They change their own mind every now and then. So are we going to believe them? Or are we going to believe the acharyas? So, so we don't want to listen from cigarette-smoking scientists. We want to hear from the acharyas. They can prove whatever they want to prove. We're not interested in their proof. We are interested in convincing them to take Srimad Bhagavatam as the pramana. Whatever is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, that is the pramana. So our job is to convince them, not we get convinced by their whatever proof they want to provide, which are all coming from mundane people who are pretty much demons. So we can't really trust what they say. Yeah, we don't know what they, yeah. Yeah, that's the synopsis here. They don't get involved where there is three is involved, where there's women is involved. They don't interact with women or anything which relates with women. Doesn't matter how pure the woman is. The rule of thumb, if there is a woman involved, brahmacharis don't get involved. As a matter of principle, because they know the mind is very strong. Just looking at the form of the women, or even listening to the voice of the women, or even forget about listening, what is the ankle bell of a woman, can distract from their vow. So they are extremely careful in dealing with activities which involve women. That's why Vedic civilization, which is an advanced civilization, not like the Western civilization, always have separation of the sexes. They always keep them separate. Even as a married man, he doesn't interact with the wife all the time. The men does their own thing, the women folks do their own thing. So there's a separation, even for married men. So yeah, these are all based on civilized society, but yeah, the norms what we live by are based on the demoniac society. So what scripture says, or what's spoken might come across demoniac according to the Western people. So it's the other way around. Don't make sense. Yeah. Yeah. Siddhalok, I think it's above the Indra's, like the slightly grosser demigods live. Above it, Siddhaloka, or Siddhaloka can also be grouped, the Mahajana Tapa, they can also be addressed as Siddhaloka, because all the Siddhas means who have purified themselves, or practicing in various yogic processes, so they are situated. So they can be also grouped as Siddhaloka. And there are also Siddhas who reside in certain lokas. So yeah, I think fifth canto goes into detail of it. Any corrections or changes? Siddhas are there. Yeah. So the Boo platform, the 9 islands, it's not just the Earth platform. So there's many planets are within that Boo platform. Similarly, Siddha platform also covers Jana, Tapa, and Makara lokas. Yeah. Okay. All right. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Can I go? Premanande. Vancha kalpatarabhisha kripa sindhu patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrindi ki.